What up, beautiful people? It's your boy Dave B. You're watching DaveBeyondTV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And today we is talking about some astrology. You know what I'm saying? The moon being in Scorpio. I had made a video previously this week, but it ended up getting cut in the middle. And so I'm probably going. I had some good stuff to say in that video, so I'm probably just gonna cut out that video. But for the most part, that's irrelevant. So y'all see clips of that. But basically, this is gonna be my actual moon in Scorpio video. Just talking about what's going on at the moment. It's Venus Day. You know what I'm saying? We got a nice watery grand water trine going on right now. And so what that's hitting for is basically looking at the moon, which is in yeah. My bad, I was reading something. But this is a situation where, the moon now was in Scorpio, right? We got Neptune, Saturn in Pisces, and then we got Venus still in Cancer. Venus is around 27 degrees, so it's on its way out, right? And I think it's important to talk more about deacons because, knowing the deacons helps because you know what type of energy to incorporate with the sign at hand or with the planet within a sign at hand. So 27 degrees Venus, right? In Cancer, the third deacon. So it's all by tens. So 0 through 9 degrees is the first deacon. Then we got 10 through 19, which is the second deacon, and then 20 through 29, right? So these intervals, all you have to do is look at the sign, and then each deacon is, so the first deacon is itself, the second deacon is the next sign of the same element. So for Cancer, the second deacon of Cancer would be Pisces. Well, it started in Cancer, right? The first deacon of Cancer would be Cancer. The second deacon of Cancer would be Scorpio, my fault. And then the third deacon of Cancer would be Pisces. And it's less about the modality of the next element, more about the ruling planet. So when we look at the first deacon of Cancer, it's ruled by the moon. So 0 through 9 degrees are going to be the Cancers who are actually more in tune with the moon, even though we know that the moon rules Cancer. But that's the point. And you can look at this even as like children to adulthood, right, as a metaphor, because as a child you're more pure in your energy. You're not, it's not until you become older that you develop thought forms in ways to go about things in more of a egotistical way, more of a purpose and an intention. Once you establish an intention for your behavior, you change. This is why as an adult there's certain things you wouldn't do, but when you look at a child, they're just a pure ball of emotion and energy. Whatever they are as a child is like them at their most pure state. So, you lose purity as you get older because you start to use your mind, and your mind starts to become more important than your natures. You know what I'm saying? Or it becomes, it's like, this is where you have to balance things back. This is why in adulthood, it's good to balance yourself and address a lot of the shadow work. Pretty much all shadow work comes from the rooted things you did that transformed your mind from when you was a kid in your purity to when you was an adult. The things you went through, traumatic situations, again, all that trauma puts your mind in certain spaces that help develop certain materials, thoughts and feelings to help you get through X, Y, and Z, whatever you was going through. But we have to be, and this is where spirituality and subconscious awareness comes in, because you start to become aware of the things that you don't see. And once you start to become, and those are just the inner workings of your subconscious. Once you get that down and you become aware of that and you start to manage and reconstruct that, this is where you actually start to really make strides in your spiritual path, because now you can stay true to self but still know how to balance and operate in a world that we in, because this is why they say it's spiritual warfare, because this shit ain't fair. You know what I'm saying? This shit ain't set up for you to actually be completely in your energy without uninterrupted. There's a lot of things going on that can distract you, and that's all it really is, a bunch of distractions and things of that nature. So that's the whole point of the subconscious community and what we do with these videos. It's about reminding you to take your power back. That way you can put yourself in a position to move how you want to move without all the added baggage and things of that nature that lead to you being depressed and feeling like, again, incapable of enjoying life, when that's what life is about. It's about I'm not going to say it's all about enjoying it, but we should be. That's more so. It's not what life is about, but it's what we should be doing while we're here, enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Doing things that we want to do and experience. There's a reason why we all here, and came back and decided to agree to teamwork and create the world together and things of that nature, the universe that we inhabit. So why not, again, experience what it is that you came here to experience? That's the only reason why individuals get stuck. And then before you know it, you here for way longer. Your spirit is here for way longer than it needed to be. And you're just lost in a bunch of shit. And this is why you come in and your life is hard. And it's hard for you to get a grip with things. It's hard for you to be happy. It's hard for you to manage your mind. It's too much going on. And it just stems from, very early things. But getting back into what I was saying about the astrology itself, Venus in the third decan. So in the first decan, the moon. In second decan, right, the energy is more mature. It goes into the next one. Now this is the Cancer that's more Martian like, more Plutonian in a sense, right? Because we know the outer planets is not really directly correlated to things, but this is more the Martian type Cancer, the more the aggressive type Cancer, that you gonna feel me type Cancer. You know what I'm saying? The Cancer that's experimenting with its own passions and things of that nature. And it might come off a little jarring to others, you know what I'm saying? Because we know that Mars doesn't do well in these signs. And that's why I think it's important to understand decans, because you understand what stage of development your sign, or that I would say your sign, you understand the stage of development the planet is going through within that sign. So you can start to understand and get a better sense of how you should utilize that energy filtered through whatever planet it is. So in the form of Venus, we know that this is more aggressive ways of going about our love matters. We want desperately, in the second decan of Cancer, we were fighting basically for things to match our comfort zone. And this is where we was going through a lot of that Taurus energy, where we had to kind of go against things that was making us a bit too comfortable in order to make sure that we were making proper progress and movement within the things that we needed to experience in our life. So that's kind of where that energy was at. And then when you look at certain energy, the last decan of Cancer is Pisces. And so this is more of a Jupiterian aspect of don't back up. Okay, cool. This is more of a Jupiterian. I need to get out the sun though, for real. But my leg is burning. I need to get back in the parking deck. But anyway, it's more of a Jupiterian and Neptunian side of Cancer. So this is the type of Cancer who's way more into the experience itself, experiencing a comfort zone. So if you planted the right seeds, this is a mature Cancer. This is a Cancer that can actually chill out, a wise Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So this is a Cancer who actually knows what their emotions mean, and to them, their emotions aren't just a bunch of emotions. It's something with a purpose. You know what I'm saying? There's more of a meaning and reasoning behind the way they go about connecting. They're maybe even a more connected type of Cancer and things of that nature, or care more about connection, know a little bit more about connection, or willing to move and experience certain things. More of a faith like Cancer. Piscean type, you know what I'm saying, just Jupiterian in general, willing to expand on the comfort zone. So that's kind of where Venus is at right now. So Venus being in that Jupiterian space, wanting to expand, it's 27 degrees, so it's finna go into the cuspy area, where now we're gonna start to see early signs of Venus in Leo. So it's important right now to be in a situation in which, and the moon in Scorpio is gonna highlight this, because the moon in Scorpio has us all reacting and responding to intimacy, vulnerability, who we can deeply connect to. But before we even get there, our own deep passions is more so about how our deep feelings are going and how we feel around the individuals around us. That, do we have individuals around us that we can feel vulnerable with? Do we have individuals that through communication we can establish more intimacy? If not, this is an indication that you planted a few bad seeds. If you are, there's still the alignment itself from the moon in Scorpio to the sun in Gemini is still going to create an inconjunction, which is misunderstandings. But that's the whole thing. You got to keep in mind that the sun is what is needed in order to comfort the moon. You know what I'm saying? We get in, that's on a very basic level. That's what the sun is here to do, is to carry out the things that the moon needs to feel, the moon needs to see, carry out the things that the moon needs to see in order for it to feel comfortable. So the sun is here to understand what the moon needs, go out and do the things that make sense or are visible for the moon to then receive, and through that energy is comfort. So Gemini, we need to do the communication in order for us to get to this space for the moon to feel satisfied. Again, it's not always going to be easy because the alignment between the sun and the moon, it can be very different. You know, whether it's a square, that means that through communication, you're going to have to learn either better ways to communicate, what to analyze and what not to analyze, or how to have better thoughts in general in order to fulfill the needs of wherever the moon is at. If it's an opposition, that means that you need to use communication to create the balance. And the thing is, like, that's what I was saying in that other video, things are not going to always feel good to do. And we can't confuse our intuition with what feels good and what we think we want. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you might confuse what feels good and natural to you with your intuition, but actually it can be quite the opposite. This is you kind of getting in your own way instead of doing what God needs you to do at the moment. God needs you to experience what this energy is like. If the alignments, and that's why, like, astrology, you know, astrology is not a religion. It's a tool to help you understand the energies at play so that you can participate the way you're supposed to participate. It's not looking at it like a religious system in which, you know, if you do this, you're good and you're going to receive riches and things of that nature, and you do this, you're bad. No, this is simply about aligning yourself with what is going on at the moment so that you can stay in tandem or in co-creation with the universe. In order to stay in co-creation with the universe, change is needed. That's why anytime you're too much in the comfort zone, you'll never actually get to where you're trying to go. You're always going to get to a point where you start to experience blockages just simply because you're not doing what the universe requires, which is you to change. That's why you was here on an astrological snapshot, but ever since that day, we never got that exact energy again. You was just you at birth are the representation of your energy. We're never going to experience that exact alignment again. So it's just traveling. And again, I said never. I don't know, because it might be some kind of weird, but my point is you as a spirit chose to come through at that exact time. The point is, by the time that energy exactly comes around, chances are, again, you in this body that you came into ain't even going to exist. So in theory, it's never going to be another snapshot like yours again. And again, we know what every year we go through the same sun and moon cycles, but every year is different. There's different stuff going on every year, even though we pass through the same signs. Every birthday you've had is different. You know, so your alignments might come back, but it's never the same as the time in which you came here specifically. And that's why, you know, we say things like, no, you chose to be here and you knew what you was getting into, even if it's the most volatile and turmoil type situation that you manifested yourself in, and where you wake up every day and say, how the fuck did I choose this? There's no way. But on some level you did, and that's part of the shadow work that you need to do in order to understand what you was on and to rectify certain things. But in order to rectify them, again, we in this universe and we created it together. So the whole idea is you have to change, and every day is you changing. From birth, you've had to change. People convince themselves that they're resisting change by clinging on to things that don't work or outdated things. But even again, you're just playing yourself. You're just the fool at that point, because you're not even wise enough to understand that you're changing anyway, and that you're never going to be as comfortable as you think you should be. I think that's important to understand. You're never going to be as comfortable as you think you should be. And on top of that, comfort is something that you have to create and initiate in any way. So it's all a lie. That's part of that water energy, believing. It's all a lie. You create this shit. But it starts mentally, you feel me? So, moving forward, right? Getting back into the energies. Moon is at like 20 degrees at this point. So we experiencing, like, you know, that last decan, this is like where my ascendant, this is like actually the exact degree of my ascendant, like 21 degrees. Yeah, 21 degrees Scorpio. So it's like this energy is the third decan of Scorpio, which is Cancer-like. So the more initiative Scorpio, you know, the first decan of Scorpio was very strategic but reserved. You know what I'm saying? Then you get into the second decan, which is and ruled by Mars too, so it's passionate. But those passions again are looking more like ulterior motives and might not always be seen on the surface, but they're there. Second deacon of Scorpio is going into the Piscean, so more the Jupiterian, more free about certain things, willing to go through the experience, the more risk takers. You know what I'm saying? All Scorpios like to take risks, but these are the ones who's going to be ahead of the game, leap of faith type Scorpios. Or if they're not really in their the higher octave, they might be more in the lower, where they might make excuses or may play out energies of being too wise to get into things. So these are the Scorpios that play off energy like they too cool for school. They like nah, you know what I'm saying? I know better, but they don't really, again, if you're not experiencing, you don't know shit. Then the last deacon of Scorpio, this is more the moon correlated Scorpio. So this is more the sensitive type Scorpios, intuitive type. So the moon right here, again, is a bit sensitive. Now, it being a grand water trine between the moon, Venus, and Saturn and Pisces. First, let's talk about the moon and Venus connection. So this is getting comfortable with love matters. So, right, aside from the fact, and we're going to get back to the Gemini energy, because even the Gemini energy carries, like I said, it was an in conjunction. So on some level, we do need communication in order for things to establish themselves and smooth over. We need more communication. We need the flow of air in order to make this Scorpio energy a little more I don't say bearable, but we need it in order to make these things flow a lot more efficiently, because without the communication, it's going to create blockages where, again, and when I say blockages, not so much blockages, but it creates the space for those misunderstandings to come in. The cool thing about in conjunction is that once the misunderstanding is cleared up, you can actually lean it more to the benefits. Even if it's negative, right? The negative aren't as harsh, aka it's not so much an opposition. It's just something that you was aware of ahead of time. So it's like, not getting on a head-on collision, or and not needing to make, it's not going on a head-on collision. It's more like a I seen it ahead of time to make the proper adjustments so we didn't crash. Or it's, you about to miss your exit, but you just catch it just in enough time to where you can adjust to get on the right road. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that type of energy, where the positive is more like, ooh, like, it's both positive, but one of them is positive that came from a negative, aka you seen the opposition coming, but you was able to avert it, right? So you don't get nothing out of that except for the fact that you didn't collide. The other one is like, you still was able to catch the opportunity. So you know what I'm saying? That's why, like, in conjunction is really like, it's not quite a trine or a gift, and it's not quite a well, let me see, because Gemini, it's not quite an opposition, and it's not quite a I guess trine or sextile, whatever's next. I don't feel like getting into that detail, but my point is, that's the two ways it plays out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like catching it right before something actually does go in a certain way. So that's kind of the energy that the communication can help sort out, because you might be a sign that don't really want to get with the Gemini energy or don't understand it, right? And you could be any sign, because honestly, if you're not Gemini itself, you might not have the awareness of what energies to be in. For instance, you could be a Libra, but you're too initiative with your communication. So even though you're a Trine, you still have to pay attention to what kind of, what sign is actually in the air. Not, oh, it's a Trine, I can do whatever I want. No, the alignment in the sky needs you to be mutable. Same thing with Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? You might be too fixed in your own thought. You need to loosen up that thought in order to move with what's going on. But the point, getting back to what I was saying, let's jump back to the water energy. So this is getting comfortable with our love matters, and see, it all gets filtered through the sun, though, as far as what the season is calling for. The season is calling for communication to be the main player in a lot of these different situations. And there again, the sun, I don't get into, well, I'll mention it, Sun trine and Pluto, in a way in which, through this communication, there's so many ways where in the background, a lot of this is helping shift things when it comes to our status. And if you got the right intention behind these things, this is shifting your status in a way that looks more appropriate. Now Pluto's finna get into Capricorn and stuff like that, but just because it's an outer planet and it's still technically in Aquarius, we can count it in part of the trine, you know what I'm saying? Part of the trine slightly, because energies that it is going towards efforts to transform ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So if you are going through difficult moments, again, that's good, because those difficult moments are putting you to the test to develop new thought forms and feelings and emotions to actually align better with what needs to be done at this time, you know. So, or and also setting you up for, again, a status that you can actually utilize and have authority when associating with your network and community, which is important. Community, don't forget, is one of the underlying most important things at the moment. We need to be able to put ourselves in a position to establish the communities, or at least be a figure of importance within our communities, aka your individuality being something that you can utilize to help, because it's almost like, you know, you the better you know yourself, the better you tap into your own power. When you do come to these communities, this is like a strong Avengers team. You know what I'm saying? You know your power, so when you come to the team, you already got X, Y, and Z prepared as far as abilities. You know what I'm saying? Capabilities. You know yourself. You're not dealing with some of the things that a person who doesn't know themselves deals with. And a lot of times, again, what they say about they say you're only as strong as your weakest link. A team is only as strong as their weakest link. So again, this is a motivator, a self-motivator to not be the weakest link. You know what I'm saying? So that makes, again, it pushes you to say, okay, these are my capabilities. I need to tap into myself, so I know that what I have as far as a resource, because that's really what Pluto in Capricorn is doing. See, it's transforming your status, right? But the whole idea of Pluto is it's like utilization. It's earth in a practical, in an initiative way. This is knowing how to use things. Sometimes they want to use people, and that's not always, again, yeah, that goes into manipulation type energies, but it's really not about that. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure that you are utilizing your own capabilities in your own mind and your own energy. That way you keep blood from, you know, manifesting on your hands. But at the same time, you know, that's what the whole idea is. Pluto and Capricorn, that's the reason why your status means something, because as you develop what it is that you have, as far as, because that's another thing about Capricorn energy, look at it like resources. So the ability to utilize resources. So going into, when it shifts back into the Aquarius energy, it's like, okay, how useful are you to your community? And that really is going to show where your status lies. But you know, all that energy that we be doing with Uranus and Taurus is why it is key. That's why your uniqueness is one of the main resources at the moment, because the more you can tap into that uniqueness, you start to bring a specific type of resource to your community, and that is what can help you, you know, help establish more stability and safety, because you know that's kind of what things are leaning towards, building these communities so that we can actually have a better flow of energy rather than being dispersed and being too separate. Right now, it's like being in the age of Aquarius. It's just, that's what's necessary right now. We need to be able to come together, but with our minds, and do things as far as constructing things that work for us, and not so much be so reliant on you know, certain powers that be and things of that nature. It's like, if we, you know, and this is part of us just having the awareness to say, you know what, let's change the world. You know what I'm saying? Let's change the world. Let's do something different. You know what I'm saying? Let's do something different, because what's already been, you know, going on is not working so much anymore. It's outdated. And I think everybody feels that way now. The shadow government and things of that nature, they're already putting things in place to take control of certain things. But that's the thing right now, is just we see so many ways in which this stuff, you know, is not working. So, you know, that's the only way the world is going to change, because as a community, you hold the power to start the first processes of how the world is going to change, and that's by changing the minds. So if you get minds to think in a way that's different, the universe responds to that. That's why they say the universe is mental. That's how it works. That's why you can't, again, as a spiritual individual, you know, yeah, everybody want to be spiritual, but what do we know about being too one-sided on the spiritual tip? If you're too spiritual, what ends up happening to your influence down here? You become too distant. there's nothing for individuals to grasp, because you separate yourself so much from the physical. It's like you isolate yourself. So any sign of spiritual energy is going too much to the max. You get the long lost hippie, you get the hermit, you know what I'm saying, that done excluded themselves from the rest of society just based upon being too spiritual. Because spirituality, that individuality, separates you from the universe, which is, again, the mind's mentalities united, the spirits united, and what we all agreed on. So when you get in, so that's why getting too spiritual, you put yourself in a box, you put yourself in a separate world, your own world, a world of your own. And again, as much as that might sound good to you, in the context of reality, you ain't gonna have no influence down here. You're not gonna have no connections here. And without connections here, you will start to lose your purpose and will to live and do things on the experience. Again, you'll separate yourself so much that you might die. And when I say die, I just mean we all gonna die, but I mean that's how you manifest your death, because you start to, again, God can't use you at that point, because that's the thing, you're too separate. You know what I'm saying? God can't really use someone who's completely, again, you're and it's not even so much that God is this, again, being that's removing you from things because you're not doing what God needs you to do. But what it is you are showing the universe that you have no place here and that you actually belong somewhere else. So what's gonna happen? You're gonna get on somewhere else. So that might be what you want to do. That's why it's like, if you are an individual who, say, you are dealing with thoughts like that, right, where you're like, man, I want to end it all type stuff, and hopefully, hey man, because that energy is crazy. You know what I'm saying? That energy is crazy. It's a lot. So if you are dealing with that, try to get some help. You know what I'm saying? And watch a couple videos and stuff like that, and get your mind right, because that that's your own mind. But my point is, if you did come to that conclusion and stuff like that, it's probably best to do it. It's better to do it in a way like where you are removed. So you start to, again, use your mind to take you somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole different conversation, because that gets tricky, because it's like I said before, we all here for some kind of reason and purpose. Is like, just because you didn't find it, that's unfortunate. But finding one might actually, I don't know. It's like I said, it's tricky, because a lot of times, who's to say you're not just trying to run from something? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this part of this realm is about endurance anyway. Earth is about endurance, and not about, a certain, not in the aspect of suffering, like, oh, you got to endure and suffer, but it's about endurance. It's about handling your responsibilities. Earth type energy. It's about looking at things and being able to see the reality of it, creating stability and, growth through that. But, yeah, you know what I'm saying, and not to come off like, like it don't matter, but it's just like, look, it's, like I said, it's spiritual warfare. It's highly unfortunate that those are the type of spaces that this world puts you in, because it just be so many things, layers that keep you away from, like I was saying in the beginning, enjoying life. But that's why we break down these transits, so that we know what's going on, and we don't got to be victim to the thought forms and spaces that other individuals want to see and things of that nature. Or, because the whole thing is they set it up in a way where you're either going to be productive, or you're going to find a way to remove yourself from society, so we don't got to deal with you, aka end up in jail, end up dead, or end up in a certain state in which you're not a factor, aka you can't use your own mind. Somebody got to do things for you. So that's being in any kind of like government type institution and stuff like that, asylum and stuff like that. And this is how they isolate individuals. Even if you're a celebrity and stuff like that, they'll put you on some kind of shit where you look crazy to everybody, and you isolate yourself. And it's just, again, it'll look like to the public like you did it to yourself, but there's certain ways they just put you in certain circumstances that It's like, dang, what I'm saying, whether they slip you something, put, just wrong place, wrong time. As a celebrity, you got certain obligations. So you got to be in certain places at certain times. They already know that. So if you playing out energies that don't look like what they putting together, yeah, you're going to start to look like the face of everything not to do. So it's like very basic reward and punishment system where, yeah, you being a good, but again, when you become aware, you're able to play the game, you know what I'm saying? And you're not looking at it like from a lens of, it's almost like game recognized game. You're able to play the game in a way that they can respect, because you playing the game but still remaining fresh and new, and again changing the world by introducing a new perspective. Because it's like, think about anytime a new perspective is introduced, it's like skeptical at first, but hey, if it works, it works. So creating communities and things of that nature is like a form of that, where let's show that we can come up with a better idea by putting our energies together. And that's why it's important, please go get y'all tickets to the 717 conference. That's what we're doing, because again, yeah, on one side, it is about having fun. We want to have fun, we want to connect and enjoy our time, again, live performances and things of that nature. But no, this is a professional event for powerful individuals. Come together, like, let's start to build, have the conversations. But it starts with something small, like us enjoying a vibe together. You know what I'm saying? Us enjoying the vibe together, but now we all professionals together. We gonna naturally get to some business. We gonna naturally get to something creative, and from that, the birth of true trust when it comes to us as a community and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta turn the air on, yo. I can't do it. Sheesh. Sheesh, man, that shit draining. But yeah, so that's gonna be energy like that, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, get back to the astrology though. You know what I'm saying? That big tangents and stuff like that. So with this moon, this grand water trine, this is a gift that we can have to start to connect to things that we have been maybe back and forth with, as far as like relationships and any forms of communication that we haven't quite rectified. It's like right now there's a chance for us to at least within ourselves create some kind of emotional stability, so that we, again, when we do go to communicate, we can start to better convey ideas on how we feel, right? Through Gemini. Again, this is if you've been planting the right seeds, because see, planting the right seeds is playing out in the energy. So you might have went through difficulties and hardships, but you were with the intention of, again, riding the wave and not getting swept up in the current. So the frustrations you went through were in the effort of changing and being a better you. So again, expanding on yourself. Shadow work. Again, whenever we go through a day in which the alignments ain't in our favor, and I don't mean so much that, I just mean like it's a harder day for you, aka you went through a lot of experiences where you were uncomfortable, but how you chose to respond to those was in a way of just tackling them. You know what I'm saying? How you respond is really what matters, not so much what you experience. Now, if your response to those was to do the shadow work, aka go through the uncomfortability and do something new to change, then you start to, again, everything is a progression. Now you have what it takes at this energy stage to go through this in conjunction, but have the right mindset and idea. Because now you got to also consider the fact that we're almost at the full moon. So the full moon energies are starting to slightly represent themselves. So this is the type of energy where it's time to prepare yourself. Because this is where, again, next moon transit, I think tomorrow we experience the actual full moon in Sagittarius. So this is like energy that's getting you prepared for that. So that's the whole idea. You want to make sure you actually, again, if you planted the right seeds right now, it shouldn't be, this is the last step, the last hurrah before we get into that full moon energy of, are you satisfied or not? And the satisfaction is going to come from the fact that you chose to do certain things that help you change and expand yourself. And that's going to be the rewards that you get to reap from the full moon to the next new moon, right? That's going to be everything that you need to protect, aka you need to start to keep that safe. the mentalities that you develop, all right, keep that safe, keep that going, even if you still aren't necessarily seeing the physical representations of those manifestations. Like if you're not seeing the material gain from everything that you was doing as far as an investment on yourself, it's not about that, and sometimes, again, you have to be more creative to be able to see what you have, even if it's just a mentality or an idea that's worthy to protect in order to get whatever it is that you're trying to get from that. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you might not see the money, but you don't realize you had a really strong idea that came from you going through the conflict, the mental back and forth of that energy that you was participating in when the moon was waxing. You don't realize that by having that difficult conversation and choosing to do the shadow work at that time, you actually set yourself up to have a certain thought or way of seeing things at the right time and right place that actually will lead to you landing into some kind of financial gain that just, again, even if it's not what you envision, and this is why it's good to get away from expectations, it's just what you needed to satisfy whatever was necessary at the moment for that money. So yeah, you might not have 3 million in the bank account because of something that you did, but you had just enough to pay all the bills and live comfortably in a way in which, shit, whether you had the 3 million or not, it doesn't matter because everything's paid and you got some money left over to spend on X, Y, and Z that you wanted. And after that, again, don't be greedy. You know what I'm saying? At that point, then that's basically God just being like, don't be greedy. And the better you're able to handle your wins, because that'd be like the good day that you experience at the week, 10 days, 10 days out the line, you know what I'm saying, 10 days later. How you handle your good times be even a reflection of what you deserve to get next time. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people go overboard on their good days and stuff like that. And you play out energies where it's like, damn, you didn't overdid it. You might not deserve that again. You know what I'm saying? So it get taken away from you or put in a position where you have to appreciate it again differently next time. And you got to think, oh yeah, next time I get it, I'm not going to just spend it like this. Next time I get it, I'm not just going to, not take the opportunities I was supposed to take. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what happens. You get what you want, you satisfied. Now all of a sudden, you're not on the mission. And that's not a good exchange. Sometimes you're given things to see what you're going to do with it. And the reason you might lose it fast is because off the rip, you had the wrong mentality. You was looking at people like they was less than. You had a certain selfish intent. You was lacking on responsibilities because you felt like you was comfortable and safe. And going back to what I was saying about comfort, it ain't about comfort. And comfort is one of the things that the universe, I'm starting to think, hates. Because too much comfort, it's like, that don't look like how the universe is supposed to be moving. Saying nothing, what they say, time waits for no man. So it's like forms of comfort look like time waiting. Oh, no, I just want to be in this position for a little bit longer. And it's not to say you can't experience comfort, but again, create your comfort. But don't forget to change. Again, creating comfort looks more like every day you find something to get comfortable with, even if you're extremely uncomfortable. That's you changing rather than, oh, this was comfortable, so I'm going to choose to do this every single day until it no longer serves me. And by that time, it's too long. It's how bad habits form. It started off feeling good and being a form of a pleasure. But then once you started to expect that pleasure, it became too rooted into your experience to where now you can't even do anything else unless you get a hit of that. You know what I'm saying? You can't even, you know what I'm saying? You can't do nothing unless you get a hit of that Venus. You know what I'm saying? Y'all addicted to that Venus. I just, on the weekends, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you gotta chill sometimes. You gotta balance yourself out, everything in moderation. But I still, again, okay, so Grand Water Trine, right? So this is a gift to be more in tune with our emotional state when it comes to the things that we love and appreciate, and also when it comes to the things that we're building, our reality and our dreams, imaginations, and illusions. So again, this could, on the positive end, this could help you understand your feelings better, your individual feelings. And by understanding your individual feelings, your deep feelings, you can start to understand reality and what may be needed in order for you to transmute any stuck or restricted energy and turn it into constructive, something that you can stand on and move forward to the next stepping stone. Again, aka, structure. This is helping you understand your emotional state so you can better structure your emotions and better put them to better use, basically. Neptune, this could help you understand how you feel now on the positive end. This is you being able to kind of, pierce through any illusions. On the negative end, this is you getting more comfortable with whatever illusion you in. And sometimes, again, illusions ain't all bad. Sometimes you can use an illusion to help get you somewhere else. Because the illusion will help put you in the space to experience something that you want to experience. So if you're using your illusions like that, like say you in a situation where you don't got it all together financially, but if you're delusional enough in the right areas, aka you use that delusion as a form of creativity, not a form of stagnation and fear, aka you using a delusion to escape. You know what I'm saying? Not using the delusion to escape, but using the delusion to actually put a ritual and spell, aka use your body and put it in a certain motion that's going to help you get to what you want to experience. You know what I'm saying? That's how you use an illusion, not the other way around, where that delusion is keeping you from doing all your responsibilities because you convince yourself I'm safe. You know what I'm saying? But you lying to yourself and stuff like that. And that can cause illness, mental illness, cognitive dissonance in the wrong way, where it's like you just can't get right. And then it's not till things are right in your face that you wake up and be like, oh no, what happened? And it's like, it was you all along. But now you want to play victim and shit like that. That's like number one Pisces shit on a lower octave. You want to use your delusions for creativity. Put yourself in a space where you feel capable of doing everything that you might not even be able to do. But because you thought you was capable and you use that delusion, you put your body in a certain you put your mind in a certain space in that delusion. Now you done used it for your body to do a ritual and spell where you done became skilled and highly creative in a certain area, that you made something possible. And even if it don't look like what you originally wanted to, whatever you made from that creative space proved itself to be real. So that delusion was real. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a delusion I was rich. So it took you to a rich space. Now you use all that delusion to put rituals and spells in place, aka do things with your body that look like you being creative on how to get rich, or you being creatively rich, or you being whatever metaphor or whatever piece you wanted to put together. You know what I'm saying? That's how you use that. You know what I'm saying? So right now we can put ourselves in an emotional state where we can get a grip on these things. And now it's like, okay, it's in our hands, in our favor. You know what I'm saying? And this is good energy going into the full moon in Sagittarius, because that's the thing. We're going to want to be satisfied with our ability to travel. Anything that feel like a cage, that's an indication that you planted the wrong seeds, and you're gonna want to go to the extreme just to get out of that safety, or get out of that cage, get out of that whatever feels like it's holding you back. And whole time it's really yourself. You was the one planting the wrong seeds. So again, you just gotta face what you gotta face, and that's the thing. You might want to escape your responsibilities, but that's just gonna come back to bite you 10 times harder. And this is tipping the cup. You're gonna try to do something extreme or try to run away. You know what I'm saying? And that's not going to be good energy for the full moon. That's going to tip the cup and create a scenario in which, hey, it's a full moon moment. And even speaking of the moon in Scorpio, Scorpio don't like to be here either, but it has helped with this grand water trine with some energies that can at least give it a sense of something to feel. But see, that's the thing. If you're not in touch with how you feel, or you find yourself around individuals you can't share these deep, intimate conversations with, this is going to make you highly volatile. This is going to make you want to shut up and isolate yourself from everybody and stuff like that at a time, again, and create more misunderstandings. Choose not to communicate. And again, communication is the very thing we need to clear up these issues. So your lack of communication will be the reason for a direct impact come the full moon. You know what I'm saying? Where you got to clash with things. You feel like you escape. You can't. You feel like you caged in. You feel like you can't believe in yourself. Your spiritual system all of a sudden not working for you. All of a sudden not making sense. All of a sudden you can't quite derive a meaning and reasoning for why certain things are going on. So you don't have no way to create faith. Creating faith is really just you coming up with meanings and reasonings as to why things are what they are. So if you have a belief, a spiritual system or a moral system that doesn't align with you, this look like you convincing yourself out of something, or you not being able to come up with meanings and reasonings that look like everything gonna be all right, and just have faith and take a chance. You're gonna have feelings and thought that say, you know what, this is why you can't do this. This is why you shouldn't do this. This is why everybody else around you is the reason why you not able to experience what you want to experience. And this gives you the wrong idea. And now you go up and blow bridges up and cause a lot of friction with other individuals that you didn't need to do. Set people up to think that you finna be connected and then dip out. You know what I'm saying? And that gets blood on your hands, you know, even if it feels like, well, you know what I'm saying, it affects you. Because you be on people's minds, you know what I'm saying, but for the wrong reasons. Don't be on people's minds for the wrong reasons. This is how you create a lot of scenarios. But see, again, all energy is just energy, so you can, you know, transmute that shit. That's why people who get hate, they can move up in their career a lot faster than people that get just love, just because the sharpness that comes from people who hate, the way they pay attention is different. You know what I'm saying? That's why that energy different. But it's just something to keep in mind. So this moon and so also it's creating this more of a grand square. So the moon in Scorpio is square, or is opposite to all the energy in Taurus. So we got Uranus, Mercury, Jupiter, you know, these planets. Mercury and Jupiter is trying to expand on the ways in which you can communicate and learn about the things that's going to get you stability. You know, this is like, so the moon opposite here, you might be uncomfortable with the things on your mind, be uncomfortable with the experiences you're going through and the things you know you have to learn and expand on. You might feel like, damn, I'm never going to get the hang of this, but it's like you gotta, shout out to the album. You got to start somewhere. You got to make that commitment to yourself to say, you know, okay, this is what I'm going to do to create that balance. You know, in reacting to the behind the scenes, it's like really just getting your emotional state so you can be in a place to be more transparent, to be more practical. Because once you iron out some of these feelings, you know how to direct your passions in a way in which it looked like it could potentially make sense. This creates the balance, you know what I'm saying? And now you're just passionate about executing the things on your mind. You're passionate about setting the stage to look like something that can actually profit you. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm talking about the square with Mars, because see, the square with Mars is learning how to feel about your passions. You know what I'm saying? Now, the energy here is, the thing is, you might not want to express yourself, or you might second guess the stage you set, because the moon in Scorpio is going to be looking at it and might not want to show everybody all the vulnerability. You know, sometimes Leos could look a little too open for a Scorpio to feel comfortable. And if you have this energy within yourself, this is going to be you. You know, whenever you're ready to express yourself, you're going to be thinking, well, what if someone used something against me? You know, I have this energy with my ascendant and my moon. So sometimes the way I feel is to express something, but the way it looks, or the ascendant, my personality itself, don't always want to be looked and seen like a certain way. So it'd be like, I don't want to just, you know, again, my personality and how I, you know, when I'm the space perspective I be looking is like, I don't want to be seen doing too much. Like, I don't need to be doing too much, even though I feel like I need to express something. So sometimes I be needing to let that feeling just come out and deal with it, or sometimes the ascendant will take over and be like, nah, I'm gonna keep that to myself and let, you know, something else go. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, whatever it is. But that's what we might be going through. And then remember what situation Mars is in. Mars is getting hit with Lilith. So a lot of that, again, learning how to express ourselves outside of that idea of embarrassment. That idea of embarrassment could trigger the Scorpio to be like extra self-conscious and things of that nature, to be like, oh, no, really don't express your emotions, when again, there's nothing to be afraid of. And we need to actually go through the experience of getting these things out, because otherwise they create problems within your body. We got to get these passions out. We got to get these ideas out. We got to get these feelings and thoughts out. And if not, you know, choose to change them and transmute them into something else. But you know, that's the main thing right now. So, you know, we're learning not only, and then when it comes to our passions, we're learning how to stabilize those things and make those things look more consistent and realistic, and more like something people want to participate in and potentially invest in. Look like making our passions look more like a gift. You know, and that's coming through the form of Mercury thought forms, through our uniqueness. How can we make our passions and the stage that we set look like our gift? How can we have that energy reflect our self-esteem? So the self-esteem being how you, again, like how valuable you see yourself and things of that nature, like second house type things, what you have to offer to the world, making that look like it belongs on the main stage. You know what I'm saying? That's all that Taurus energy interacting with Mars. And then again, it's coming from the way we think. So putting our thoughts together in that kind of way, it's questions we're gonna be asking ourselves. Your Uranus, it has to come from our uniqueness. So what about our uniqueness belongs on the stage and what don't? You know what I'm saying? And then the North Node about our spiritual path and things of that nature. Like how is this looking like my spiritual journey? And beyond how does it look like my spiritual journey, it's more like what your journey says about you, and how do you wear that on your sleeve? How do you represent what your spiritual journey is? You know what I'm saying? Because we all are a walking testament. So when you look at that North Node squaring that, that Mars and Lilith, it's like, Mars and Leo, it's like, how can we make, it's like the theme of the stage, basically, making it look like my spiritual path, so that when people see the stage, they gonna see me. But when they start to get familiar with the things around me and the set pieces, they're going to be like, oh, damn, this is what the spiritual path of this individual look like, type of stage. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shit. Like, okay, I get it. And then that's when, you know what I'm saying, again, boom, a lot of magic going on. A lot of magic going on. And then Venus is going to join that energy too. So it's going to start to look like a stage that people want to support. You know what I'm saying? So, or it's going to look like you not getting the support, you not getting the attention and the praise, and it's going to make you highly volatile again. It's going to make you want to do anything, go to the extreme, or kick, scream, and burn the whole house down just because you're not seeing yourself and that stage and stuff like that. And that could be highly devastating with those energies there. And again, it all stems from right now and what you're choosing to do. Because if you're still timid about expressing yourself because you're scared you're gonna get embarrassed or whatever, you scared it's not gonna come across right, you playing yourself. Again, alignments. If you're not aligned with shit, this is why you ain't seeing shit for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And this is why we made the Daestar planner. It's like, niggas is not playing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know about everybody else. I'm not playing when it comes to this stuff. Like this world and this life, I'm looking to experience some real things. You know what I'm saying? Even with the 717 conference, we gonna you're gonna have the cameras out. We gonna make this like really impactful. So I appreciate everybody who has showed the support and got their ticket. But you know what I'm saying, we you know what I'm saying, go ahead, tap in, because this is where the future is going as far as like what we building. That's where we at now. And we've been here for a while, but now it's like it's time. You know what I'm saying? It's time. We got to get this stuff rolling. That's why I put the website together. And I'm going to make a video explaining everything with the website and how to actually use it, because you can book online as far as readings. I got my readings up in my services tab. But yeah, www. Or you don't need the W's, but DaveBeyond.com, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's a one-stop shop for everything. And then and then I got a shop there where very shortly I'll be putting up courses. So the first course is going to be that artist and astrology, that how should musicians and artists use astrology. I don't want to make it cliche because it's not going to be the actual title, but it's basically how to utilize astrology as a musician or an artist, basically, in the introduction course to that. And then we, what I'm saying, so the course is going to be available there. I'll have more details, like I said, when I make this follow-up video about the website itself. You can even buy your tickets through the website. So go to the events tab, you know what I'm saying? And then also subscribe to the newsletter, because I'm going to be, I do the Daestar daily. So this is like going through, blog posts, basically talking about the energies going on and being like, basically like these videos just condensed into written form and something a little different, a little extra for the individuals who are invested in, what we got going on, because it's going up. But anyway, back to the programming. So yeah, so this energy, this grand square is like kind of pressuring you on that way, you know what I'm saying? And also the ability to express yourself to individuals who are close to you and things of that nature, like expressing vulnerabilities. There, sometimes we got to put a piece of vulnerability in our art in order for it to mean something. You know, that's what the most important art or music and all things in the world is ones in which the artists themselves became vulnerable and shared a piece of themselves, because through that vulnerability, that's where people actually do connect the most. You know what I'm saying? Through that vulnerability, this is actually where people, you know, again, this is what defines everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like that, what makes them vulnerable. This is part of like that their space. Ooh, I gotta crack my back. Hopefully that wasn't too loud, man. I had to do that. I gotta go though very soon. So let me try to wrap this up. So the moon is also going to be, yeah. So we talked about the in conjunction. The moon going to be opposite Mercury, you know, opposite our north node. Jupiter, I got a video for Jupiter conjunct in the north node, but this is basically just expanding on our spiritual path, or being willing to experience our spiritual path, or in a nutshell, experiencing highly uncomfortable moments. And the name of the game is, how are you going to go through that experience? You know, are you going to choose to have the faith? And it'll be easier to have the faith if you planted the right seeds with Jupiter and Aries. But it's like, this is the reality of your spiritual path. And, you know, again, we're going to have to get real with ourselves real fast, you know, and hopefully you already real with yourself, so that you can approach this with the right mentality, because it ain't stopping for nobody. So, you know, there's no sense in trying to fight it or avoid it. You know, this is what you're experiencing. But in a sense, it's no passing the baton to Jupiter and saying, okay, it's on you now. You know, but the North Node is making its way to Aries, you know, because it's at 3 degrees. But yeah. So yeah, Moon. See, Moon opposite Jupiter. Yeah, I talked about that. Moon. So let me see, Taurus, Gemini, anything in Cancer. We talked about, yeah, Moon trying to Cancer, getting comfortable with our love matters, or ways of expressing love, getting more comfortable with how we feel and intimate connections and things of that nature. Moon square Mars, you know, uncomfortable about expressing our passions, or, you know, second guessing what we express and things of that nature. We just gotta fight through that. We gotta get through that. Virgo, Libra, Squeeze. Yep. Talked a little bit about the full moon, and then we go to Capricorn, Pluto. Yeah, somewhat of a square-ish. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause Pluto's in Capricorn, so, you know, learning how to feel, or how to, you know, say, learning how to feel about the inner workings of our community, and whether or not our status actually holds any weight. So sometimes you might come into realization of that, again, through the conversations you have. You might understand, like, oh, this is actually how the inner workings of my community feel. You know what I'm saying? This is actually where their passions lie, and what I wasn't able to see before, I can see now. If you're having those conversations, because it's all going to come from whether or not you actually having conversations outside. Is it Pisces, you know what I'm saying, the other trine, so getting more comfortable with reality, or what the reality of our situation is, you know. And again, this doesn't mean that it's going to be good. It's just a way to feel and connect with the reality of our situations. Now, you can turn it into, you know, coming to a better conclusion on how to approach it, or you can choose to be scared and crawl up into a ball and develop a grudge against other individuals who don't deserve it, just based upon you not being in the space you want to be in. Delusional, you know what I'm saying? This could lead to that, you know what I'm saying? Or it could lead to you transforming yourself to fit the needs of what is needed to handle your responsibilities. And that's really how you should be doing it. You know, it's not always all good, but you can actually, that's one of the abilities you have access to at the moment. I can start to feel how I need to feel in order to handle these damn responsibilities. I know it's not going nowhere, because what's the point? You know what I'm saying? If you just finna try to hide from everything, you never gonna get to your destination, and you actually gonna cause a lot of discord in other people's life and waste other people's time, because you're not gonna be right. Now the moon, okay, Aries. Oh, that's good. So in conjuncting Chiron. So misunderstanding mistakes on an emotional level based upon passions and things that you was, reaching. So take the moment to iron out, like, what about your last passions led you to certain experiences, even this time, you know what I'm saying? What is the inner workings of your passion? Because again, where passions are at the moment, it is going to take a little bit of learning. So if you got another in conjunction, looking at the mistakes as well, as far as it, because that's a bit of a, and that's the thing too. Tomorrow gonna be a grand fire trine, which is gonna show us a lot of things too, kind of like flash a lot of things in the pan and be like, oh damn, like I see that now, I see that now. So it could be Epiphany City tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? Or as far as when the full moon hits, just in that space of catching certain things, seeing things you wasn't able to see before, based upon wisdom and where you're able to travel mentally. But aside from that, just today, before we get into that, it might be the beginning stages of that, where you misunderstand your mistakes today, but if you work through it, you might actually get to a better understanding tomorrow. And then Taurus, we talked about Taurus, Gemini. Yep. I think that's about it. So, and then Cancer, yeah, right back to the top. And then Leo, Virgo, yeah. So that's the energies basically, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like this full moon, I'm not gonna call it, but because everybody going through different stuff, so I can't really speak for everybody. I just know how I'm feeling about it. You know what I'm saying? But from what I'm taking away, it's a powerful energy that's really correlated. It's really, especially like it being Venus Day and all this water energy going into the weekend, like again, like really. This Gemini energy has been all about cultivating better relationships. You know what I'm saying? Getting to where you feel less restricted with communication. So, that in and of itself could potentially improve relationships or make them more complicated, depending on how you go about it, and what you're learning at this time, but through communication, we can clear up a lot of the misunderstandings that might be still in the air. And by clearing those up or getting better understanding, this is going to be what leads to more intimate connections and being able to feel like the people around us are actually who are supposed to be around us. Also, just with certain things that we're going for, communication can help us transmute ourselves into better emotional states that we can utilize as passion and strength and things to actually stay strong and go through this energy that the way we need to go through it. But the moon and the full moon basically hitting us. Well, we'll talk about that in the full moon video. But again, it could be Epiphany City, where you're able to see certain things because you was able to go to the places mentally. And again, satisfaction will look like you actually having the space and freedom to go where you want to go mentally. You're actually looking at your responsibilities and or your experiences, satisfaction on your face. Like, okay, yeah, I'm satisfied with what I'm experiencing. I'm satisfied with what I know I need to learn. I'm satisfied with what I know. What I know actually holds value. You know what I'm saying? These would be the type of ideas of a individual planting the right seed versus planting the wrong seeds. You might not see the value in what you know and what you're experiencing. You might lack the ability to feel comfortable with believing in your ability to do something, you know what I'm saying, based upon you just not seeing it or experiencing it, and so that's the space it can put you in. But, anyway, yeah, like I said, visit the website, join the email list, get your 717 tickets, and cop a planner. It's on sale at the moment. Much love, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.